Hello, hello, and welcome back, change makers. I am Cheyenne Kramer, and we are all about celebrating change makers from all over the world. Last week, we had such fun with so many international interviews. This week, we've come right back into the US, and we seem to be focused in North Carolina. So, thank you so much, Tiffany, for being with us here today.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm excited for our conversation today. Always excited to talk about things of healing nature. So,
Yes, yes, absolutely. Well, please tell everybody in the group what it is you do and why you're so amazing.
I call myself an emotional root coach, and here recently, emotional support coach as well. But what I am and what I do is I believe that negative emotions are connected to our dis-ease, and that's I like to say dis-ease, Cheyenne, and not disease,
Right.
because an emotional root coach believes that. We have to look at ourselves through the mind, body, spirit, and soul. That it's a holistic learning, or I should say, healing that we have. And that we need to know and understand that when one is out of balance, the other two are out of balance as well. And so, what I do is I like to look at what that dis-ease that you're having, and I like to connect it back to the emotional connection of it. And we know that emotions are energy emotions. And we have to look at to see, well, what is the negative emotion that dis-ease is connected to? Once you can trace it back to, the root cause of your dis-ease, then the easier it is for us to work with it and to help you to disconnect from that negative emotion. But we also include lifestyle changes. We also include nutrition. And like I said, because it's all interconnected, mind, body, spirit. So it's all interconnected and woven together. So we have to work with the holistic viewpoint when we're trying to disconnect from that negative emotion.
Oh, yes, and I love you always spell holistic with a WH, which is so perfect because that's exactly, what it is really all about. So, can you give us an example? If somebody's got an ache or pain of some sort in some part of their body, can you give us an example of what's typically a root emotional cause for something?
Sure. So the first thing that pops in my mind is, of course, me helping my own self from disease. And
Yes.
so I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism at a very young age in my 20s,
Mm.
and was on medication for 20 years.
Wow.
And that medication started to, lodge in my liver. And I was having more and more symptoms. And every time I went to the doctor and told them my symptoms, they said it was not connected to my thyroid. And I
Mhm,
said, it's got to be a better way. And it's got to be a rhyme and a reason to what's going on.
mhm.
As I started researching holistic healing and understanding what holistic healing meant and looking at the emotional connection to it, I was able to research my thyroidism to uh, feeling invisible and not feeling that I had a voice in life. And
Ah.
all of that made sense. It was like, the sky opened up, you know.
Angels singing.
And so I was like, oh my God, that's how I grew up feeling. I always felt like, I was invisible, that, nobody was listening to me, in any of like maybe pictures and stuff of, I'm talking about like baby pictures, children, pictures when
Mhm.
you were young. It was like, I didn't really have many, or I didn't have that many. And so as a child, when you're not able to understand and process, right, start connecting to negative things of why
Yes.
it's not many pictures of you, or why you don't see that, uh much of you in your family history. Um and so in connecting to that negative, those negative emotions, I grew up feeling invisible, and I grew up quiet, shy, as an introvert. And as time increased, it just became worse. And in that, that's how I connected it back to hypothyroidism. Once I started dealing with all of those negative emotions, my thyroidism, my medicine kept decreasing to the
Wow.
point where I didn't need it anymore. So
Wow.
I've been off of medication now for probably 7 years.
Wow.
Hmm.
That is so amazing. So amazing. Were there other things? Was it just the emotional piece that you had to work through, or were there other things that you also added from a holistic perspective to improve your thyroid function?
Good question. So yes, I ended up adding some holistic approaches. Um, I had to replace kind of what the medicine was doing with holistic uh, supplements and nutrition. And
Ah,
so, one of the things I used to do was combine like lemon juice and aloe vera juice and flaxseed oil, and I started taking that in the morning as for my, to replace the pill they used to give me to take.
okay.
That was the medication that I started doing. So yes, I replaced it with nutritional supplements and eating differently as well. I started eating according to what was going to heal the thyroid
Mhm.
and the things that affected your thyroid. So it was food changes I had to make that was going to, heal that thyroid function.
Wow. Wow. I love it. I love these kinds of stories. But you also mentioned that the pharmaceuticals you were taking, you felt they were affecting your liver. Was there
Yeah.
something that you needed to do to help heal the liver as well at that point?
Yes, yes. So I did like a liver detox. And then I once again had to connect to how to heal the liver from a nutritional or supplement standpoint. And so I started adding those things into my diet, as far as those things that would, foods that I call them love on, right? So those foods that would love on the liver.
I love
And
it.
those foods that actually clog the liver up, I had to remove those from my, meals. And then also adding in, like I said, some supplements like dandelion tea. That's really good for your liver. So adding in things like that that will actually help to unclog the liver and love on the liver so that it can function
Mm.
at its optimal wellness.
Love that. Yeah, I mean, and that's becoming a bigger and bigger problem that a lot of people just don't even realize because it's not talked about that much. But
Yeah.
that is one of the problems of especially long-term pharmaceutical use. There's almost always toxicity in those pills and it builds up in the liver.
Mhm.
So amazing that you were able to make those connections. It sounds like you're pretty intuitive gal here in terms of being able to tie all the pieces together when you're working on healing yourself or somebody else.
Yes, 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 yes. I am. I'm a big researcher. So
Mhm.
I love to, when I get the information from my clients, I love to then take it and research and to then bring back options. And this is what I've learned. And this is what, the holistic world is telling us that we can do. So,
Mhm.
and then I bring it back to them, and then together, as a team, we can see what option best suits you, and then we can move forward that way.
Absolutely. And you mentioned at the beginning, that it's all about healing body, mind, and spirit. So tell me, how do you work the with the spiritual nature of people to help in the healing process? Because you and I both know that's a piece that has been tossed out of Western medicine.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, so for that spiritual piece, like for example, what I had to do is I had to forgive. And forgiveness is the root really from the spiritual sense of things, is you have to start at that forgiveness. So what I had to do is I had to go back to that moment, and actually, Cheyenne, God took me back to the moment where the offense occurred. He took me back to the exact moment where I started to feel invisible. And I had to then go back and forgive my family members. And then I started asking some questions. And then I came to find out what my mother had explained to me is that the reason why I probably was not in a lot of pictures is because when I was very young, my mother and my father were going through a divorce. And she said it was a long period of time that I didn't see my father. And so on my father's side of the family, that's why I wasn't in a lot of the pictures, because
Mm,
there was this, long gap that as they were going through, the divorce. And so as I had a better picture and understanding of things, that also helped from the spiritual realm for me to be able to forgive, because it wasn't a deliberate thing that anyone was doing. It was just the nature of what was going on at that particular time when I was young. And then
mhm,
I was able to forgive, my relatives and things like that, that I felt was kind of being deliberate about it, but they was not. It was just happened to be the nature of the thing. So yes, so forgiveness would be the foundation from a
mhm.
spiritual realm of where can start that healing process from
Mm,
your spiritual being.
absolutely. I'm betting you also believe in the power of prayer too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, because when I was praying, that's when God took me to that actual point of when the offense occurred when I was a younger child. So
Nice.
yes, prayer is just as important as the forgiveness part, because God, when you pray, God will actually help you to know and understand what happened, but also to give you that love and comfort and support to know that you're his child, and
Yes.
that no matter what has happened to you, that he's there. He will never leave you, he will never forsake you. And that was just something that had to, maybe come along to help you evolve into
Mhm.
the person that he created you to be.
Absolutely, and I'm sure, just that sense of knowing that no matter what happens in your life, that you are loved. That's
Yes.
a biggie without a doubt.
Yes,
Whew.
without a doubt, yes. And he is always there with you. Yes.
Well, I'm curious, is there a specific group of people or a specific kind of health challenge that you find more people being drawn to you for help with? I guess I'm asking in a way, have you identified who's an ideal client that you can help?
Yes, good question. So I find that females gravitate to me the most.
Mhm.
And by us being emotional creatures, um, women are just more apt to want to know what that emotional connection is, and
Mhm.
want to know why I am dealing with what I'm dealing with. And they seem to be able to process better when you talk about emotions,
Mm.
and have more of an understanding and openness, because I mean, I don't want to paint this, beautiful, beautiful picture, but sometimes males have a problem kind of understanding emotion.
Yeah, it's a denial thing.
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. And it's like, what you talking about? Whereas women are more open to receive when I, have that emotional information to say, hey, well, have you ever looked at this as part of your life? Because this is what I'm kind of pulling from and understanding. And when they take time to think about it, oh, yes, you know what? Yes, I can see where that came from. And so, um, um, men is kind of, yeah, chip away at it, what I'm saying, a little bit at a time. You got to chip down that wall that they have up. So yes, I would say females, definitely. Females, I would say in that, um, maybe 40 to 60-year-old range, where maybe they're more open also, they've lived a good portion of their life. They made some of those mistakes and things like that, and now they're at a point where it's like, "Hey, I wanna change the direction of my life. Wait a minute, something is not going right." And so they're more open to receive.
Absolutely, I love it. Well, and I'd have to say though that, in regards to, our men counterparts, society has helped to build that wall, and,
Yes.
from my perspective, I think it's time to help take some of that down. What do you think?
Absolutely, absolutely. We know, because I'm also a Montessori preschool teacher, certified Montessori
Ooh,
teacher.
nice.
So that is part of my background as well. And so I know from a very young age, our little, male counterparts are they're not taught to kind of connect to their emotions. It's a lot of um subliminal things that are taught to them. They're taught to, not really cry, suck it up, you're okay, shake it off. And so they're not teaching our young ones, our young males, to be connected to their emotions, that it's okay. And it's okay if they cry, and it's okay, because if not, what they do is they start building up this wall at a very young age to disconnect from their emotions. And then as they get older and they're trying to understand, why they may be dealing with diabetes, you know
Mhm.
um because they have um lost the sweetness of their life. So it's things that has happened to them that they don't know how to process emotionally. And
Mm,
most of the time it's connected to a lot of loss in their life. They lost their mother, or they lost their best friend, their brother, or someone that really meant a lot to them. And
mhm.
in that loss, they don't know how to process those emotions, that grief that is just uh taking a toll on them, and starting to like live within them, and they don't know how to deal with it. And so it's because they've been trained as a little one not to be in tune with their emotions.
That's it. That's it. My goodness. Yes, I'd almost forgotten about your Montessori background, and I know that you're very dedicated to working with young people as well. So I know that you are currently being the very important and efficient chair of a health and wellness summit. Would you tell us about that?
Yes, and so this is our third annual Every Dot Black Health and Wellness Summit, and we are so excited about it. It is an opportunity for Every Dot Black to not only showcase our health and wellness entrepreneurs that's in our network, but to also provide information to the public as far as how to heal from a holistic standpoint. And so this year, our focus is thriving through turmoil. And so we want to teach people how to manage their stress, how to overcome their stress, especially when you take into account maybe what the next 4 years will look like. There's a lot of people being very anxious over what is our future going to look like. But
Mhm.
coming to this summit, we're going to give you the tools, okay, and the understanding and the strategies on how to thrive over these next 4 years. Cheyenne is going to be there. She's going to be a wonderful speaker. She's going to be showing us how to live with purpose, on purpose, for purpose. We're going to understand how to get through the future when we connect to our purpose. So I am loving that. I'm excited. It's going to be March 29th from
Mhm.
2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a free virtual event. Okay. So it's no cost. So everybody can come and get some wonderful information. And you can register at EB, and that's Elephant Boy. Okay. Health Summit eventbrite.com. And so we are hoping to just see massive people come out to just hear this information. It's going to be some valuable information for free, and we're just excited about it.
Absolutely, and we will put the flyer, in the comments under this video, and the flyer does have that registration link on it, so, in case you didn't catch it, you'll be able to see it on the flyer. So tell people how they can get a hold of you as an individual emotional root cause coach.
Yes. So I am on basically all social media platforms. I have a page, Holy Living Health Coaching, that they can connect to. And like she said, I spell holy, WHOLEY, Holy Living Health Coaching. They can connect to me through email, which is holy living, but once again, WH, holy living at yahoo.com. I'm on LinkedIn under Tiffany Hunter. I am on Instagram because I am the host of the Healthy Entrepreneur podcast. And so I am on Instagram under that. I'm under TikTok at Tiffany Hunter 1111. Uh, like I said, I think I've uh, noted all the platforms that I'm on, but I try to make myself available on all the platforms because I want people to kind of understand that emotional root cause to dis-ease. And so I am just kind of dedicated and passionate about getting information out to everyone on these different platforms.
Absolutely, and yes, Tiffany will also be a speaker at the summit. God has ordained it, and she will be there.
Yes, yes,
Love it. I love it.
yes.
Well, it has been such a pleasure to have you here today, Tiffany. So, do you have any words of wisdom that you'd like to leave people with?
The word of wisdom, I would just say, and part of my passion as well, is that I just want people to understand and be aware of what holistic healing really means. And
Mhm,
so I want us to really start to look at our physical ailments through a holistic lens
mhm.
and just be open to understanding that um, just about every dis-ease is connected to a negative emotional root. And so it's up to us to just disconnect from that emotional root and stop the suffering. That's really what it's about. Stopping the suffering. Mhm.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. One other thought just crossed my mind. Are you somebody who's open to collaborating with other healers?
I sure am, especially when it comes to the Healthy Entrepreneur podcast. Always looking for healers to come on and so we can have a conversation like me and you are having right now to be on the podcast. So always, yes.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thanks to all of our change makers for tuning in today and hearing more about Miss Tiffany, what she's about. Make sure that you check out the flyer that we're going to post for the Thriving Through Turmoil Summit, I believe it is called, with Every Dot Black. And again, that's EB Health Summit www.eventbrite.com is where you
Yes,
can get your free tickets. There's no reason for you not to show up.
that's
So,
right. That's right.
all right. So we'll see you all in our next interview. Take care, everybody. Have an awesome day.
Bye bye.